Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. This week I'll be discussing the 1996 horror, comedy, thriller classic, Fargo, starring William H. Macy, Frances McDormand, Steve Buscemi. It's an all-star cast. For those of you joining us for the first time, each week in the B Movie Club, I discussed forgotten classics, guilty pleasures, whatever kind of blows my skirt up, if you know what I'm saying. You can reach me on our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. Give us a big thumbs up. You can also go to our page on YouTube, Kevin D, that's me. Subscribe, it's totally free. And you can follow me on Twitter at the B Movie Club. It's our new little tag or name or whatever that is. So there you have it. Don't forget to spread the word, tell all your homies, and the more the merrier. Fargo, in this movie, essentially what you've got is you've got this guy from Minneapolis who manages a car dealership. Here's the problem. He's been secretly embezzling money through false, fraudulent claims to the financing company. He's basically been pocketing that money. And the cops are starting to sniff around, and the financing company is starting to ask questions, and his father-in-law, who owns the car dealership, is also starting to be aware. So what's his plan? Money's gone, he can't give it back. He doesn't have any money. But what he can do, and this is his crazy plan, he's going to hire somebody to kidnap his wife to force his wealthy father-in-law to pay a ransom. He'll take half of the ransom money, I guess pay off or say, here's the money, you know, something along those lines. Get himself out of problems, basically, okay? This is a horrible idea, as you might imagine. He goes to somebody who works in the service department of the car dealership, who'd served a little time, and he sets him up with some guys, some criminal types, who he meets in Fargo, South Dakota, way off the beaten path, tells them the plan. They agree to do it. Unfortunately, they're kind of an unsavory bunch, and they're kind of incompetent on top of it. Very quickly we figure out that one of the kidnappers is kind of a psycho, on top of being a kidnapper. So it's not a good combination, let me tell you. So they go ahead and they kidnap the wife, and as they're driving off, she's in the trunk. Somebody sees them. Another car drives by and makes eye contact. Something goes on because a cop tries to pull them over. They wind up killing the cop. Boom. Then you go and kill the two passerbyers. So now there's murders all over the place. Okay. Enter the local Brainerd police department. The chief of police, she enters the scene, and you know what we're learning. Many people in the central northern part of the country have a cute accent and kind of a folksy demeanor. People around the South Dakota, Minnesota area, I guess. But, however, Marge Gunderson, who's the sheriff, she is, even though she's kind of folksy and, you know, friendly and all those things, she's got a mind like a steel trap. So she's quickly able to figure out what's going on here. The car that was used to kidnap the people has dealer plates on it, which was not the best plan the world has ever seen. So she goes back to the dealership, confronts Jerry Lundegaard, who is the guy who wanted to have his wife kidnapped, and quickly starts sniffing out that he's kind of an unsavory character as well. So I don't want to spoil everything. I don't want to give it all away. Okay, there's a lot of layers going on here. But what can I tell you about this movie? Number one, in the opening credits, there's a scene where it says, essentially, This is a true story. We've changed the names to protect those people involved. However, all the events actually happened. This is what we call in the business baloney. Okay? Essentially, they took bits and pieces from a lot of different crimes that had happened. The notorious wood chipper thing, actually, that part happened, but it happened actually in the Northeast. It happened in New England, is my understanding. The kidnapping, that thing actually did happen in Minnesota. Somebody hired somebody to kidnap their own wife. So they took they cherry-picked what they wanted to do. Essentially, they wanted to, they chose the Minneapolis, St. Paul area because the directors, the Coen brothers, are actually from near that area in Minnesota as well. So it had more to do with wanting to film near their own hometown than any kind of local story that hung to it. This movie was a huge success. It was nominated for Academy Awards. In fact, Frances McDormand, who plays Marge Gunderson, the sheriff, she actually won Best Supporting Actress. So there you go. That's very important. If you watch any of the Coen brothers movies, you will often find Frances McDormand tucked in there somewhere. There's a reason for this. She's married to Joel Coen, the director of all the movies. So there you go. You've seen her in other non-Coen brothers things as well. Okay, just keep your eyes open. William H. Macy, who plays Jerry Lundegaard in this movie, he auditioned for the role and didn't hear back from them. And he actually, when production started, tracked them down, showed up on the set, and basically said, "You will ruin this movie if you do not cast me in this role. It is so important. You've got to cast me in this role, and if you don't give it to me, I'm going to kill your dog." He was joking about that, allegedly. So they cast him, and there you have it. The rest is history. There was a moment, and this is kind of a hidden Easter egg, where people thought that the scene where one of the killers is chasing one of the bystanders across kind of a snowy area, and he might be shooting the bystander in the back, boom, boom, that was actually Prince, who's a famous Minneapolis resident himself. This turned out to be also a load of baloney. Not Prince. Didn't look anything like Prince. So it wasn't him. So there you go. So anybody who thought Prince was in this movie, you're sorely mistaken. Not in this one. When this movie came out, Roger Ebert thought it was one of the best movies of '96. He thought it was one of the best movies of the '90s. People loved this movie. I remember when I saw it, I was kind of on the fence. And I've talked to a lot of people about it who think this movie is the bomb diggity. See, I'm used to a certain quality of Coen Brothers. My favorite Coen Brothers movie of all time has got to be Raising Arizona, with B Movie Club patron saint Nicolas Cage starring in it. Frances McDormand is also in this, if you look closely. She's in this as well. Some other things that are kind of interesting. The notorious wood chipper used in this movie can be found in the Fargo Visitor Center to this day. So that's kind of important. I was kind of laughing about this. It's called Fargo. There's literally one scene that takes place in Fargo at the very beginning of the movie. It takes place for 10 minutes. And in reality, none of the movie was filmed in Fargo. So why is it called Fargo? I have no idea. I guess it has more of a better ring to it than Minneapolis or Brainerd. I can't explain it. The role of Carl Showalter, one of the kidnappers, if you will, was written specifically for Steve Buscemi. So there you go. That's important. Peter Stormare, who plays the other attacker, Geyer. He's supposed to be Swedish, I guess. He had actually been offered a role in Miller's Crossing years and years before, and he turned it down and regretted it. So when they offered him this role, he jumped on it. I remember watching this movie, and when they first see him, I literally thought it was Bruce Willis for a split second. Then I'm like, is that Bruce Willis? Because he had that crazy blonde hair that I think Bruce Willis had done in a couple movies that had the same kind of crazy blonde hair. Then I'm like, is that his illegitimate half cousin, or what is this guy? So you've seen him in other things since then. He's been in a bunch of stuff. So there you have it. What else can I tell you about this movie? This movie was chosen to be of historical and cultural importance. It was actually entered into the Library of Congress within the last 10 years. Pretty shocking. Um, as I said before, I was always kind of on the fence about how I felt about this movie. I know some people, because there are scenes that are very shocking and dark and violent, juxtaposed with kind of this goofiness. So some people love it. It's definitely an acquired taste, I think, if you're into that sort of thing. You know, what are you going to do? William H. Macy, interestingly enough, was talking about how people think that he ad-libbed a lot of his lines, but evidently that was just him. That was all that stuff was in the script. All the stuttering, all kind of the hesitation. He was literally just doing what the script asked him to do. So there you go. They actually made 2 different TV series based upon the movie. There was one in the late 90s called Fargo, which kind of was the continuing adventures of Marge and her stuff. Didn't do anything, didn't go anywhere. And currently there is a show on FX also called Fargo, not based upon the movie, but it's kind of like the spirit. It's a different story, different characters, but it definitely has that dark side juxtaposed with kind of the goofiness. So if you enjoyed the original Fargo, I think you might enjoy the TV show as well. Fargo currently has a 96% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, it just depends on you, on your personal taste. Not my favorite Coen Brothers movie, in all honesty. It's entertaining. It's not for everybody. Like I said, it does have scenes of violence and kind of, you know, this dark quality to it. It's a dark comedy, but when it's dark, it's real dark. But it does have the kind of goofiness to it. So it just depends on what you think. Next week, I'm going to go to the distant galaxy when compared to Fargo. We're going to be doing the action sports unintentional comedy No Holds Barred, starring Hulk Hogan. That's right. Playing professional wrestler, I know, big stretch, Rip Thomas, taking on the fighting creature Zeus. You've seen this. If you haven't, it is streaming instantly on Netflix, so rush out. Send me any of your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, any comments or questions. Hey, if you have any movie suggestions, feel free to drop me a line as well. You can always reach me on our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. Give us the big thumbs up. You can subscribe to our page on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitter at The B Movie Club. There you go. Don't forget to let everyone know. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. And here it is. I'm not sure I agree 100% on your police work there, Lou. So there you have it. Thank you very much. That was Fargo. As you know, next week, No Holds Barred. Thank you for joining us, and be well.